Want to learn how to make a leather necklace? Today I'm going to teach you how to make an easy lariat style. Hey guys, Susan Thomas here, and today I'm going to teach you how to make an easy lariat style leather necklace that's super cute, just with little things that you have lying around. This is a couple examples of the necklace, and so you can kind of see we're just going to be tying leather in knots and adding little different charms and pendants and little fun pieces, maybe some large hole beads onto our piece to make a really pretty presentation. So in order to get started with this project, you're going to need some leather. I'm going to use a 1.5 millimeter leather from Leather Cord USA. You're going to want a really soft, supple leather to do this project because we're going to be doing some knotting, and it's great if it's really soft and easy to knot. Love the 1.5 millimeter. It's just a great basic diameter in leather. You're also going to need a clasp. I'm going to show you two different ways to add a clasp to leather today. One is going to be a button style clasp, and the other is going to be a crimp style clasp. These are special crimps that are just especially for leather. That's kind of cool, right? And we'll use those and then attach just a simple lobster claw style clasp to the end. I'm going to be using just a basic cutter. You don't have to have a flush cutter to use this, even though I'm using my flush cutter. You can use a pair of scissors, you can use a flush cutter, you can use a textile cutter. And then I also have a chain nose plier because I'm going to be opening and closing some jump rings and also squishing those little crimp beads at the end. The only other thing you might need is a ruler. I am not a big measurer, folks, but if you want to make it the exact right length, if you want an exact 24-inch necklace, good idea to measure your leather before you get started. All right, so the first step is to basically make this the lariat style or the thong part of the necklace. So I want to make about a 20-inch necklace to hit just right about here in the mid-chest. So to do that, you're going to measure out about 30 inches of leather. And those aren't exact measurements, but it's pretty close. I find that I get right at about a 20-inch necklace if I start with right at about 30 inches of this leather. Now, if you're using a thicker leather, like a 2 millimeter leather, you're going to end up with a little shorter necklace. And if you use a thinner leather than the 1.5, you'll end up with a little bit longer necklace. And that is just physics, folks. I can't do anything about it. So anyway, but if you're using the 1.5, they'll be right about the same size as mine. So I'm just going to fold this piece of leather in half. You can see I've got the loop at one side, and on the other end, my leather is pretty much equal sizes. And then you're just going to take a little ring. Any little ring will do. If you have something called a quick link, you can use a quick link. This is a little piece of Thai silver. I love to use sterling silver and Thai silver with leather, but just really any ring will do. This one is right at about, 7/8 of an inch in diameter. You can use a bigger one. You can use a smaller one. It really is just personal preference at this point. So what you want to do first is you're going to tie this leather to that little loop. So you take your leather and you put that folded over piece through the ring, and then you just very simply pull the leather through and pull the knot. And so here is why you need a good, soft, supple leather. Because if it's not soft, if it's kind of a hard leather, that knot will not cinch up like it does for me. So that's how you do that. And then basically what you want to do is just kind of attach some cute little pieces to the bottom. And this is one that I had started before, and I'm going to take apart these little guys, but add some cute little beads. There's a little charm. Here's a jump ring with another little charm. Just some different things, whatever you like the color of, whatever you're feeling. Maybe you have a few things that have been lying around on your workbench for a while that you think look cute together, but you didn't know what to do with. It's perfect. The key to kind of making it work is to have a larger pendant style medallion. So this piece is key. So I would find this piece first and then add whatever else you want to it. Now this is kind of cool because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the leather to attach the pendant. So instead of using a jump ring, I'm going to actually use this leather to attach the pendant. And this is something new that I've learned how to do recently from my friend Michelle. And she works for Leather Cord USA, and I just think it's just such a fun way, like a whimsical way kind of, to attach pieces to leather. So what you're going to do is you need to have a pendant that obviously has a big enough hole for that 1.5 millimeter leather to go through. And I just pulled it through just like so. And then I'm going to go around this guy, my little loop here. And I'm just going to tie a knot using both pieces of cord. And don't tie it up tight. You want to leave yourself a little bit of slack for that pendant to hang. So I'm just going to kind of watch what I'm doing there and get it right where I want it. Just a little bit extra slack. And then pull the knot to the front of the pendant. Once I get it, I'll show you guys. So I'll lay it down so you can see kind of what I did. So see how that knot kind of sits right on the hole of the pendant, and then I've got a little extra leather coming down. Pretty cool, right? And then the back looks like that, but that leather actually becomes kind of like a jump ring, but it's a little bit more decorative because you have that cute little knot on the front. Now, I'm going to add these beads. You can see how I've done it on the leather here. These are large hole beads, and the cool thing about large hole beads is they have holes in them already that are big enough to slip onto leather. They're a great way to finish off a piece. You can actually slip one up here on the top if you want to, or you can just slip them down on the bottom. I'm just going to use these little guys like little charms on the bottom of this piece to finish off those two little scraps of leather that I did. So you just take them, make one a little bit shorter, one a little bit longer, and you just pop those onto the leather. And then I want this one to sit just below or right at the bottom of my pendant. So it's not completely covering it up, but it kind of comes in front of it. So just kind of find the space for your knot by eyeballing it and just put a basic overhand knot in the cord like so. And then see how it kind of hangs just kind of right down there at the bottom. And then once you get it where you want it, you just trim off the excess using your cutter. And like I said, I'm using a flush cutter today. Maybe not the absolute best thing to use, works just fine. You can use a really good sharp pair of scissors or a textile cutter. My textile cutter would be my favorite thing to have. But I'm kind of an any port in a storm type girl. If it cuts and it works, I'm gonna use it. And so then I'm gonna grab this other one, and I'm gonna make this one just a little bit longer so it hangs down below the first one. So just put your bead on. And this time I'm gonna put the spacer bead below it. You know what, you can put them both on top, you can put them on the bottom. This is a really whimsical style piece, so it's just whatever you like the look of. So I'm gonna make that a little bit longer and tie my knot down a little bit lower so that it sits down below the first one, just like so. And then once you get it tied, again, you just trim that off. And you've got just a cute, cute, cute little dangle in front of that. And I put these little dangles on everything now. I don't know about you guys, but when I come up with something that I think is cute, I do it everywhere. I put that at the end of a clasp. I put them at the back of my necklaces. I'm tying leather everywhere right now. And I love to be able to use a large hole spacer bead or a large hole bead or just something with color to add to my piece. Now, speaking of color, I felt like this necklace needed a little bit more, and I also wanted to add a little color. So I found this cute little tassel that I had, and I just found a cute little silver jump ring. It's kind of an oval shape. And so what I'm gonna do with that is I'm just gonna open up the jump ring, and I'm going to attach that right to that ring on the necklace, just like so, to add just a little bit of color, so that when you wear it, you kind of see all those little pieces together. Now, to finish this off, this is the thing people ask me all the time. How do you finish a leather necklace? I know it's so hard to finish a leather necklace. There's two different ways to do it. What you're gonna do is you're gonna find your length. So I wanted to make this a 20 inch. Let's just kind of make sure I'm looking good. And I've got quite a bit of length, but I think that's perfect. So you need some extra cord to tie the knot. So you have a little bit of waist, but maybe just about an inch on each side. So I measured my necklace. I want this to be right where that sits. So I'm gonna add an inch on each side because I'm actually gonna tie a button and a button loop on the back of this particular necklace. So here's my button. You're gonna need a button with a shank, and a shank basically means like a little loop that is soldered to the back or the side of your button. So you're just going to take that and pop the button up onto the piece and then bring it around in a circle and tie an overhand knot. and then pull that knot up to the button, like so. And see, I have a little bit of extra here, and I will just trim that off, like so. Then on the other side, I have to make a loop to go around that button. So I'll bring my cord up, and I'm just gonna kind of measure this. You're gonna want the end of the loop to come out about an inch beyond the button so that it sits right next to it, and then you just do an overhand loop like so. Bring it around, and I always test to make sure it fits my button, so don't make it too big or too small before I tighten it. So just kind of get all your knot in just the right place, make sure everything is good, and then test your button before you tie it tight. So just, here's my button. Can I pop that through? I can. It's a little bit big, so I'm just going to pull it a little bit tighter. But that knot takes up about an inch and a half an inch to an inch in your cord. That's why you give it a little bit of extra slack. And then you just trim off the excess like so, and pop the button through, and your necklace is tied so that you can pop that on here just like so. Pretty easy, right? Now I'll show you this other necklace because this is the other way to end your leather cord necklace. Now on this one, this is a little bit different. Some people like this because they think it's cleaner. Some people don't like all those little extra knots on the back. So this is done with something called a crimp clasp. And the crimp clasps are these two little pieces here and here. The rest of it's just jump rings and a lobster claw style clasp. So to do that, I'm just gonna cut another little piece of leather. I don't wanna cut this up. I'm just gonna cut another little piece of leather to show you guys how to do this. So at the end of your leather, you're going to get one of these little crimp clasps. Now, these are made especially for 1.5 to 2 millimeter leather. If you're working with a 1.5 millimeter leather, you can either use a 1.5 millimeter crimp clasp or a 2 millimeter crimp clasp. This one is a 2 millimeter crimp clasp, meaning that the opening on the inside is 2 millimeters. So you just pop the leather into that clasp, and I'm just going to go, I want to go all the way through so I can see it inside the loop, and then pull it back just a little bit. Then what you're going to do is you're going to look for, there's two little lines on this crimp clasp. You're just going to look for them. Those are the marks on the crimp clasp. You need to look for those two marks, and then you need to squeeze right between them to crimp it to your leather. So I'm just going to grab the crimp clasp between those two marks, making sure that leather is just sticking out just a little bit with my chain nose plier, and then I'm going to give it a squeeze. And I always turn it over and squeeze it from the other side as well. You want to make sure you only squeeze that middle part because the other two pieces are kind of decorative and pretty and you don't want to ruin them. And then on the other side, you're going to do the exact same thing. So find the other side, pop your crimp clasp on, find the end of the leather, grab it with your chain nose plier, pull it out a little bit, squeeze, turn it over, and squeeze. Now, because you did that, you are going to have to do some opening and closing of jump rings. So I'm just going to grab a little jump ring here, put just a plain jump ring on one side. I'm going to have to use another plier because this is stainless steel and it's very strong. Twist it open, pop it on, and twist it closed. And then on the other side, I am going to attach my clasp, which already has a jump ring on it, so twist it open and twist it closed, just like so. And so then I'll show that to you on this necklace here, that is now finished like that, which is a little bit more of, looks like more traditional finish to a leather necklace. I would say, in my opinion, it's the cleanest way to end a leather necklace. Looks very professional and maybe a little bit more finished. I love the whimsical nature of the button on the back of it, but it really is just kind of depends on the type of look that you want. So two different ways to end your little Lariat style necklaces, and just add a little fun to your life. Okay, so now that we know a little bit about making a leather Lariat necklace, let me go through some of the tools and supplies that we worked with today. First of all, we started with a 1.5 millimeter leather, and I used right at about 30 inches plus the scraps to make my little dangles. Then as far as tools are concerned, we used a chain nose plier to open and close some jump rings, and also a cutter to cut the leather. And then as far as measuring is concerned, if you guys would like to be the measuring type, or if you are the measuring type, you're going to want to have a ruler handy. And then as far as supplies are concerned, really have some fun with this, folks. What do you have lying around that you want to dangle off a piece of leather, right? You're going to need a ring for sure. You're going to need a clasp for sure. I showed you how to use a button, and I also showed you how to use those crimp clasps. Either one works. And then some type of little pendant or medallion to hang off of there. Maybe just some fun tassels, some large hold beads, some large hold spacers, and little things that you can put on the end to make it cute and fun. Thanks so much for watching. If you guys would like to pick up some supplies like the ones I worked with today, check out the links down below. What other type of leather necklaces would you like to see us make? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell. And now that you know a little bit about making a leather lariat necklace, you can say, I made this.